Definitely wasn't pretty, but the end result is all that matters. On this Saturday afternoon, the Edmonton Oilers 3-2 winners over the lowly Buffalo Sabres, and we're here to break it all down. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola with you inside the satellite studios in beautiful downtown Edmonton on a lovely Saturday. Hernan Salas locking it down back at ESTHQ. Hope you enjoyed that game. It wasn't clean. It was sloppy, but they get the job done. I know some people don't like that, and they say it's an excuse. You're right, but at the end of the day, the Oilers have moved into first place in the Pacific Division with that victory. The Vegas Golden Knights idle today. And so that is first place for the Orange and Blue. Of course, we want to hear from you, 780-218-9999. Get into the conversation. Your thoughts on the win, your thoughts on how the Oilers have played on this homestand thus far. And the Connor McDavid suspension is now over. And if you're watching on YouTube, of course, hit that like button. We appreciate that so much. And let us know your thoughts via the nasty chat. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts. Proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Hernan Salas, I text Joaquin Gage earlier after the Oilers had made it 3-2. I said, Gage, I don't know what you're doing tonight, but here's the plan. We're going to go here. He responded rudely towards me, I will say, and my feelings are hurt, so I'm gonna take the high road on this one. And I'm going to say Joaquin looked very nice in that picture of him with a young Bowen Byram, who was on the ice for the Buffalo Sabres today. Your thoughts on how Joaquin can be so rude to his colleagues and teammates? Just, I'm on the broadcast today. I'm a Sportsnet guy today. Forget you, EST and Tommy. And then secondly, the Oilers' victory, more importantly.
Yeah, I think I've heard that Byram story a few times. It was good to see the flow on good old Gager there. And like always, fantastic on the panel. As for the game, hey, listen, fun game, man. Both teams were leaking some good chances both ways. Listen, early on, I thought Reimer was really good. And then the only reason this game was 3-2 is Stuart Skinner. He was fantastic on this game.
Yeah.
You got to give shout-outs to Nugent-Hopkins. One of I'd say his best game of the season, Tom. He was outstanding. I like Darnell Nurse, Jeff Skinner, scoring against his former team, which was awesome. The empty net missed by Dry. This team just can't score in the empty net, Tom. That's just the way it is. And did you notice that the wave started right when Buffalo scored the third goal and it got this loud? But it was like a...
No, I didn't see the wave.
I was just like wave. A lot of people didn't get into it, and then they scored. So shame on you, because you almost cost the Oilers a goal. But anyways, nonetheless, I thought it was a good game by the Oilers. Like I said, a little leaky at sometimes. Stuart Skinner was there to bail him out. You're not going to be at your best every game. But for some reason, Tom, Buffalo always gives the Oilers a hard time. It's interesting because they're bottom of the table, but they got some good players there. Their power play was moving it around like it looked like the Oilers' power play, and Thompson missed two one-timers in the Ovi spot there. But shout out to the PK. The only power play the Oilers did get, Tom, I thought was sloppy.
It was not good.
I'll say this. I didn't like it. A little sloppy in their own end. Evan Bouchard's driving me crazy in the defensive zone. Offensively, I have no issues, Tom. No issues. But defensively, again, like he's just like I don't even know what the word to use as anymore. He's just not engaged in the defensive zone. I will say this: Kulich, is that his name? Yuri Kulich?
Kulich, yeah.
Kulich, he looked really good. My first kind of look at him, and he has quite a shot, Tommy. He was pretty impressive on the night. But all in all, we got through it. We got through the McDavid suspension, Tom. The Oilers go 2-1, so you got to be happy if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan. Not the prettiest game, but they won the damn thing, and now you move on to Monday when Mr. Connor McDavid returns.
Buffalo and Edmonton, they've gone back and forth, each team trading wins in the last 5 matchups. Edmonton's record versus the Sabres in the last 10, 5-2 2 and 3. So for whatever reason, Buffalo has given them fits. I think, like today, the Oilers don't take them very seriously, and it almost bites them in the butt. I'm serious. I'm being completely honest. I really do think the Oilers take them very lightly. The other thing too,
maybe Tom, to like Saturday night off.
They have tonight off. They have tomorrow as an off day as well. I know that they're looking forward to watching football. They're probably going to go out for a nice dinner tonight. A lot of families in town. So I feel like they're probably looking ahead a bit too much by the sounds of it. And it showed up on the ice because they weren't particularly great. There were moments where the first period they were all right. Second period, there was a pushback in the first 10 minutes from Buffalo. The last 10 minutes, Edmonton kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Reimer made some good saves. The Oilers gave up some opportunities where you're like, what are you guys doing tonight? There was a post by who had that post? It was Mallenstein, I should say, on the breakaway. Yeah, and you could see that coming too out of the box. You're like, oh, he's going to get a breakaway. Oh, nice pass. Oh, breakaway.
And then Krebs got one too right after, Tom.
Exactly. Yeah, and Skinner made a couple of great saves as well. I'm going to go right at Randy tonight because I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Sorry, Randy. I'm not having it. Randy texting and says, ha, 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 ha. Way to lead off the show with it. Comical coping mechanism and lazy narrative. But if you fan the right way, quote unquote, says Randy, then results are all that matters. Homers, like others, love that bias. Randy, can you not just have nice things and enjoy them? Like when you were a kid and you were a brat and maybe your parents reluctantly gave you a treat or a gift and they're like, I shouldn't give it to you, but I will. You're like, you don't deserve it, but you get it anyway and you kind of repent a bit. Like, do you not understand, or do you just want to be an a-hole today? Randy, not today. Let's have a nice weekend, okay? Am I going over the top here, Nanso? Randy always comes and tries to be a thorn. Not today, Randy. Let's have a nice weekend.
We always have to look for the negative for Randy, sure. And we said we said they weren't sharp. They gave up a lot of looks. If it wasn't for Stuart Skinner, they
were not great.
Their one power play was awful. Again, Evan Bouchard in the defensive zone, just the lack of will to defend and get aggressive or anything like that was bad. But at the end of the day, they won the game, Tom. And that's all that matters. In the big picture, they won. They got 2 points. They're in sole possession of first place. Nugent-Hopkins was probably his best game of the season. I mean, there was some good performances too. It was great to see Skinner score. It truly was. Emberson solid. I like Noah Philp's game. Kapanen again chipping in. There's a lot of positives too. But in a 3-2 game, I know it's Buffalo and everybody expects it to be 10-0. That's not realistic because there is excellent hockey players on Buffalo. There is.
Yeah.
A lot of pride there. They don't want to lose either. So at the end of the day, Tom, it's, not the best game by the Edmonton Oilers, but they won the damn thing. It should have been 4-2. Give that shot to Draisaitl again 10 more times. He's not going to miss.
Almost. Yeah. And Kulik with the kicked in non-goal. Obviously, he kicked it in blatantly.
You get a break, but it's those are the correct calls, Tom.
Randy did text in prior to that, before we went to the air, said, guys, Tommy, I challenge you not to use "it wasn't pretty," but or McDavid not playing excuse, because getting outplayed, having a called back goal and a post against a bad Buffalo team is inexcusable, and the result should not outweigh that, plain and simple. So, okay. Randy, yeah, I know.
Oilers suck. There, Randy, there.
Oilers suck. They only got into first place, but they suck.
Yeah, let's just leave.
We're being facetious. Randy, I'm just giving you the gears because I know you like to poke and pry, but I just want nice things for oil country, us. Let's enjoy our weekend. Let's have fun. It wasn't a good win, but they won. They take the 2 points. They say, thank you. We move into first place and then regroup for Monday against Seattle. How about that? All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. Let's take a look at the scoring summary from Edmonton's 3-2 win over the Buffalo Sabres, where the Oilers did get outshot 41-36. By the way, Matt Cassian will be joining us shortly. He was on daddy duty during the game or just after he had to go pick up his daughter. So we'll get to Cass when he gets back home. Okay. Did not start great. I mean, Edmonton was actually, the start was good. I don't think Buffalo got their first shot till 9-10 minutes in. It was 8-0, 1 point for the Oilers, but it would be the Sabres scoring on the fifth shot of the game. It was Alex Tuck. This was not a great goal on Stuart Skinner, but he totally redeemed himself the rest of the way. Tuck 16th from Zucker and Bryson at 16:28. However, 17 seconds later, we figured it would be one of these two guys. We figured it was either going to be Ryan McLeod scoring or Jeff Skinner scoring, and Jeff Skinner is the one who gets on the board, his 8th of the year against his old team. Ty Emerson with the point shot, and it was Skinner banging home the garbage at 16:45 to make it 1-1 after one in the middle frame. Yuri Kulik, you heard Hernan talking about him earlier. He scores his 9th of the year from power and Cousins to make it 2-1 Sabres, and you're going, oh my, not again. Come on, you guys. After such a good night against the Canucks, but the Oilers were down 2-1 to the Sabres at 7:46 until Ryan Nugent-Hopkins scores a nice goal, his 14th of the year from Kasperi Kapanen, and Matthias Ekholm. Actually, it wasn't that nice. The second goal he scored was nicer. Kapanen with the nice move. Strong play, goes around the net, and then feeds Nugent-Hopkins. Corey Perry getting close and involved with Reimer. Reimer's stick gets caught against Perry in the post, and Owen Power was in there too. Ultimately, no goalie interference. They didn't even challenge it. 2-2 at 13:20 of the second period. To the third period we go at 8:59. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins off a nice feed from Darnell Nurse. Evan Bouchard, the secondary assist. Nugent-Hopkins, second of the night, 15th of the year. And like you heard Hernan talk about, it would be Leon Draisaitl with a wide open net on a 2-on-1, missing the net. So it ends 3-2. A little bit dicey, not an ideal game. They get the result. If you're like Randy, you're like, I'm worried about them. It's inexcusable. Edmonton gets outshot 41-34 by the worst team in the Eastern Conference. The face-off percentage, 50.8%. The Oilers win that battle to 49.2. Power play 0 for 1, discombobulated, out of sync. Jeff Skinner was out there. I think they tried him a couple of times early on that power play. It wasn't working. And then they went over and they just kept passing it to Draisaitl, and he tried to do too much. And ultimately, it was a weak power play that led to a not shorthanded breakaway, but a breakaway coming out of the box for the Sabres. Skinner gets lucky on the post. And then the Oilers PK goes 3 for 3, so that was good at least. Hits 29-15 in favor of Buffalo. Block shots 16-7 in favor of Edmonton. Officially 16 giveaways for the Sabres, 15 for the Oilers, 7 takeaways for the Sabres, 5 for the Oilers. The numbers that matter, 3 for Edmonton, 2 for Buffalo. It is 2 points on the board for the Orange and Blue. Hernandez, any good text that you want to get to?
Yeah, there's tons coming in, Tom. Carmen says, Tommy, great game. Do you think Klimberg plays Tuesday or Thursday? Tommy, what are you hearing?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's Monday or Thursday, right? I was like, whoa. There's a game Tuesday? I think Monday is the 1 week point from when Chris Knobloch said, I expect to see him play in a week or so. Depending on, where they think he's at, how up to speed he is with the system, how comfortable they assess him to be, where his body's at. I could see him on Monday. I would think you'd want to get him in there. I think Seattle would be a good game to get him in. If they don't think he's ready, fine. Save him for Thursday. Give him a couple extra days. And I would say Monday. Why not? Put him in there.
And you saw him battling with McDavid at practice, so he's getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
This from Doesn't Sign Text Guy. With the Oilers being so bad with the empty net, I hope no one pulls the goalie tonight in celebration. We'll have another pronger. Oh, boy. Never mind. That one, bad. Boy, that one could have been vastly different had Skinner not been lights out. Great to see that from him today. Must say, empty nets are getting to become a bit Oilers kryptonite. Hey,
yeah, kind
of.
One
without the captain. Can't complain about that. Have a great day, boys. Tommy, your voice is clipping a bit. Oh, well, let me turn him down a bit. Yeah.
Oh, is it too high?
Could be.
Okay. Well,
that was from Greg, the sound guy, so that's why he's...
Well, Greg would know. He's a sound guy.
Stan Pater says, Skinner, when he has the confidence, he makes it look easy. He was great. Was not great was how often our defense just allowed the Sabres to enter the zone unimpeded. They practically were sitting on Stu's knee half the game, but great teams pull out these kinds of wins. That's from Stan Pater. Let's see here. I would like to credit Section 209 for that goal being disallowed. The wave was trying to get started at the 9-minute mark, and we held strong and would not continue it. That's from Justin Falcone. Well done, Justin. Well done. Anthony on Long Island. This team needs to practice empty net goals.
No kidding.
And chaotic, disjointed, disorganized this afternoon, but big props to Nuge, Kulak, and Emerson. Mm-hmm. They don't get 2 points tonight with the efforts of those three. That's from Jay in the park. And yeah, the Emerson was good. I thought Kulak was pretty good.
Yep.
Echo made a hell of a play on Thompson there on the one-on-one. Yep. And then they call... See, Tom, this is where I am with the refs. So they call that penalty on Kapanen right after, which was a terrible call.
Yes.
He comes out of the box. He takes a penalty that should have been called, and they don't call it. That's why I hate, like, the refs were like, well, maybe that was a bad call, so the next time he does actually get a penalty, we'll just let it go. Like, that's game management, and I'm just using the Oilers as an example. It goes both ways. Call the damn game. That's it. Who cares if he was just in the box? Do you know what I mean? And this
I do know what you mean.
This goes for any team, Tom. I'm not just saying, it's just an example that it's fresh, and it was Kasperi Kapanen. That's why I get frustrated with these damn refs.
Reed and I were talking about that exact same situation. It is frustrating. It really is frustrating. All right, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Edmonton wins it over the lowly Buffalo Sabres 3-2. Maybe looking a little bit too far ahead and let their foot off the gas against a bad Buffalo team. GCL Diesel, by the way, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for 50 years. Let's get set to bring in Matt Cassian for the breakdown. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Of course, Nasty Chat doing its thing. As always, I know there's every bit of reason to critique this win. There's reason to also be somewhat satisfied or appreciative of the fact they got away with one, I guess. Let us know your thoughts. You can needle us the way Randy did. Sorry, Randy, I came at you pretty hard there at the start of the show, but I was just like, not today. Let's have fun today. It's Saturday. It was a win, but it was not a good win. It's a bad team they played, but they got it done. Jeff Skinner scored. Stu Skinner played good. The first goal sucked against him. Don't know what he was doing on that one. I'm with you, but let's hear it. Text us 780-218-9999.
And you can see why Buffalo struggles. Man, it's hard for them to get that puck out of their zone.
I know. I know.
It's weird because they have talented defensemen. They do.
They have good D-men.
Yeah. It's just nonstop turnovers today for them, or especially on there. Rough.
Exactly. Okay. Cass is standing by. Let's get to the turning point of the game before we welcome in Cass. It's always presented by the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy crew at Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. We treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game. Like, it would be easy to go to the 3-2 goal by Nugent-Hopkins. It would be easy to go to Kulik's goal that was disallowed because he booted it into the net. But I'm going to go to when Stu Skinner made two great saves on Peyton Krebs coming out of the box to keep it at 2-2. I thought that was really impressive. He did get lucky earlier when Mallinston hit the post on the break, but I'll go to Stu Skinner, who totally redeemed himself after letting in that Alex Tuck goal and hangs on for the 3-2 victory. Let's get our game analyst in here, Matt Cassian, as we get set for the breakdown. The breakdown, of course, brought to you by South Fort Chev. Reserve your 2025 Equinox tracks and Traverse now. They won't last long. They've also got the best discounts on 2025 Silverados, and they won't be beat. See dealer for details, www.southfortchev.com. Matt Cassian, there he is, good to go inside his satellite studios. Cass, Randy gave me poop for using it wasn't pretty, but they got the win. But honestly, that's exactly what it was. I'm calling it like it was. They did not play great. They had some good moments. They had some nice stretches, but they won. They got away with one a little bit.
A little bit. They got away with one a lot.
Maybe I'm being a bit facetious.
Like they were the way better team in the first period, guys. Didn't give up much until you took that penalty, and then all of a sudden Buffalo woke up a little bit, and then Edmonton wasn't great there on after, and really not in the third period. They weren't very good. But yeah, I mean, they got 2 points. What else are you going to say? Like, it was ugly, about as ugly as you get as a win. Stuart Skinner holds a minute. You mentioned the Krebs saves. Those were big. He ends up with stopping 3 breakaways, 3 for 3 on breakaways, which you can't give up 3 breakaways in a game. Just ridiculous that you do. But he ultimately comes up big and wins you a hockey game. Rightfully so, gets the first star in it. And guys, that's a flusher. Like, you got the 2 points, but you just got to be like, yep, we weren't very good, but we got 2 points. Move on.
Sloppy on the details, right? Sloppy on the details in spurts, and it almost cost them it. I mean, they gave up the lead twice, which is not good, especially against Buffalo. Good on Buffalo for hanging in there, putting up a fight, whatever you want to say about the worst team in the Eastern Conference. But I guess where I'm going with this, Cass and Nanso, is they get the result. The process wasn't good. Are we concerned about how things went today? Or do you just go, no, they got caught up in it's the weekend. They get the early night off. They get tomorrow off. How do we assess that element of it? Because to me, that's kind of what it is. And we know this team is guilty of getting caught up in looking ahead. And they, I think, did it today, and they got away with it.
No, they absolutely did it today. They were thinking about dinner reservations, and who knows, maybe the boys got the green light tonight. Actually, they definitely got the green light tonight. They have the green light tonight with the day off tomorrow, where, the third period, maybe they started thinking about where they're going after and what they're wearing, because you have lots of time. So it's, listen, they played a great game the other day against the Vancouver Canucks. You played a good game against the Washington Capitals. So I'm not worried about this one. Good teams over the course of a season, and we say this all the time, but good teams over the course of the season, you're not going to be at your A game every single night. Right. And sometimes finding a way to win in those games where you're not playing well, I mean, that's a good thing that you find a way to win those games. And we, how often do we talk about, and do we get just ripped to shreds of, you need your goalie to steal you one? Well, he kind of stole you one tonight. So you get that game from Stuart Skinner that steals you one when the team was, let's be frank, at a 4 out of 10 in terms of quality of play overall, but you find a way to get a win. So should we worry? No. It's a type of thing where you start stringing 2, 3, 4 of those games in a row together, and then you're like, all right, we got to sort this thing out here. But they just played 2 solid games, so let's not fret too much.
You said something that I really want to dive into. Kind of caught me off guard. You said they're worrying about what they're going to be wearing tonight because they got the green light. Are you telling me that when you had the green light and potentially had this situation when you were playing, you were thinking about what you would be wearing that night?
Well, usually, yeah, but it didn't affect me because I was on the bench the whole third period. So it wasn't a big deal. No, I don't know. I don't know if that's what they were thinking, but
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, Tommy, yes. I know that you were thinking about what you're wearing tonight because
of course
it's an early night for you.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, how can they not be thinking about that? And you're a fashionable guy, Tommy, and there's some guys over there that they like to look good.
They look good, feel good, play good. all that stuff. I was also thinking about how Joaquin shut me down when I invited him out tonight. He said, nope, not going out. Sorry, Tommy. A little bit rattled. Hernan, go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, it's just alluding to what kind of Cass said. Like, you're coming off such a high in that Vancouver game, right? Emotions got high in that one. It was even though it was a blowout, but it was feisty. They kind of had a little bit of a downer today afternoon game, guys, against the team. And keep in mind, ahead of this game, the last 14, the Oilers only won 5 against the last 14 against Buffalo. For some reason, Buffalo always gives the Oilers a hard time. So, like you guys said, maybe it's just one of those games where they just weren't feeling as good as they were on Thursday. So, again, they won 3-2. There are some good, but like Cass said, and Cass is harsh right now. He gave him a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well,
I did.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Stuart Skinner had to make like 6 amazing saves, guys.
Yeah.
I think 4 out of 10 is adequate.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple of things in the nasty chat I saw. I'm kind of giggling at what people are saying. People are in a good mood, which is great. It is the weekend. The Oilers get a win. They're off the rest of the week. People can breathe easy, although some will be like, well, I didn't like this, and this about the game tonight. It concerns me. That's fine. That's what we're here to talk about. Let us help you with all of that. Okay, it was Jimbo who says, boy, did my TV hear it during that game, LOL. Glad they pulled out the win. Throws in one of those. Says he liked it. Carmen says, Cass, call Tommy out and keep calling him out. Zedmo saying, Nuge did step up. Need that while 97 is out. And then Ro Nelson adding, RNH was the best center on the team tonight. Nurse was the best defenseman. And Skinner, the best goalie. And then Floating Tea Leaves adds, green light equals steak night. I feel like the in-house chef for the Oilers would make a 5-star meal. They do have an in-house chef.
Oh, and it's good.
It is.
You know, I've had a couple. They do every once in a while with the alumni group where you go and have some lunch there. They do it. Mm-hmm. Their food's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Pretty deadly. Yeah. But, can we talk, because I think, sorry to jump and change, but I think the 4 out of 10, I think it is good to talk about. And Carmen was in on the nasty chat as well and mentioned it. It says, guys, Nuge has 11 points this month. 11 points this month in January. Do you think he's back to form? Kind of seems like it, doesn't it? Like, can we talk for a minute about the play of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and now where he's finding some rhythm here, where he started the season, couldn't really do much offensively, wasn't able to find the back of the net, and he started to turn it around a little bit. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Nanso.
Yeah, I agree, Cass. And listen, this 3-game suspension, we talked about it when it was announced that this is the time for a lot of guys who are having so-so seasons, time to step up. And listen, we know what Nuge brings. We know he's a two-way guy. We know the coaches trust him. He's not going anywhere, guys. He's always going to be a PK guy. He's always going to be on the number 1 power play, and he's always going to play significant minutes. But it's just good to see him get rewarded. I don't think he's been poor the whole season. I think he's just lacking the points. And sometimes we judge the player on just the points, but he's a very valuable player. And I think with these 3 games without him, a lot of guys have stepped up. So you saw Skinner get a goal. Draisaitl's even more elite when McDavid is out of the game. So for me, Nuge took advantage of Connor being out and showing what he means to this team. And because a lot of fans are down on him, Tom. We see it here on the Nasty Chat all the time. But again, he shows his value, and he stepped up when the team needed him without the services of their captain. So very happy to see Nuge start to get those points and contribute a little bit more, because if he can continue this play, it's going to bode well for the playoff run.
2 goals today for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 15 goals, 16 assists, 31 points, plus 4 through 48 games with 12 penalty minutes. That doesn't sound too bad if you think about it, right, guys? Like, it's nowhere near his 100-point season. But if he ends up having like a 60, 65-point season, I think we're going, yep, that's good. Good job. And that could still happen, right?
It could still. And it's important to remember that a 100-point season is going to be your outlier. Like, he's not, not very many guys have 100-point seasons, and he was connecting on everything. And the power play was so deadly that he put up a ton of points on the power play. So it's not fair to compare to that. But to say, if he gets to, a good season for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins right now is kind of in that 65 to 70 point range. I think you're ultimately happy with the production at that level. But he was off that pace, I feel, for the start of the season. Granted, the team wasn't great at the start of the season, but this month has been pretty good, and he started to turn it around. And he does do good things away from the puck as well, that are more than just we see on the stat sheet. But he certainly is a guy that has picked it up the last couple games in particular, with McDavid being out of the lineup.
Well said. Okay, a couple things I want to get to. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, the Latino Heat, Hernan Salas with you. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Nasty chat, same thing. If you're watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, or Apple Music, we appreciate you. And I saw some texts, but I saw some things in the nasty chat I want to hit on really quickly. Chad Jenkins says 31 points in 48 games. Not too bad. Then Quaddy says Philp lost some key faceoffs today. He was okay-ish. Philp in his second go-round up here this season, and it feels like he's going to get a bit of a longer look this time around. He ends the night -1, 6:49 time on ice. He did have a shot. I thought he was okay on a couple of shifts, 50% on the dot. Cass, it's a small sample size. He's only played 9 games now, but how do you assess Noah Philp thus far?
Yeah, it's hard to assess tonight because the team as a whole was just so poor that it may be a little bit hard for him in the minutes he played to stand out much. But listen, he's been solid. There's a reason he's here, and there's a reason that Derek Ryan's on the lineup. He brings a little bit more size and maybe a little bit more youthful exuberance, and he's probably going to get, as you said, a little bit more of an extended look where we're going to get to see him more. But he's been passable. I mean, is that fair to say? Like, it's not like he's been shocking us to the point where we're expecting him to get top 6 minutes and to move up the lineup. Mm-hmm. But he's done enough to stay in. He's done enough to earn a little bit of a longer look, and that's okay with where we're at with this team and needing young guys to step in that you can trust, that can play. He's been good. He's just been good. He's solid. Maybe is even a better word. He's been solid.
And he got a PK shift with Nuge, which bodes well for him as well, right? I think they're slowly working him into that role as well. So, and I agree with Cass. Like, he's a player that you don't need big minutes from right now, right? The guys, like, if he plays 6 to 10 minutes, I think you're okay with that. And kind of like Emberson, just slowly get him more comfortable as we go on here. And we'll see what happens with the roster come the trade deadline. But right now, I don't think anyone should have an issue with what you're seeing out of Noah Philp. He's playing for the limited action he sees. He's playing all right.
Growing pains, right? Like you said, good comparison to Emberson, and there had to be some patience there. What helps now is this team's winning, whereas earlier in the season, it was a struggle. They started 0-3. It was a little bit rocky in that first 10 to 15 games, and now that they win, even games that they don't play particularly well, like tonight, they still get the win, and it kind of glosses things over. But I think it is fair to talk about, and we're gonna see him learn on the fly. So I'm glad that Quaddy brought that up. Just something to chew on a little bit. Okay, we have some audio to get to. Cass, you're good to stick around for a little bit. Yeah, that's a head nod for sure. We have 2 interviews ready to go. Hernan, I'm going to let you pick which one we will hear first.
Sure, let's go with, how about Nuge, everybody's favorite here, following his 2-goal performance. Here's Nuge speaking with the media following the Oilers' 3-2 win over Buffalo.
Total after they didn't have any for about the first 10 or 11 minutes, sort of weather the storm?
I mean, obviously, we had a guy kicking back there, so lean on him heavy tonight. Probably a little too heavy. We knew that coming in, if you give these guys any life, they're going to run with it. They're a bunch of young, skilled players and can make you pay. So Stu did a great job. We found a way to win. Obviously, we can be better, but we'll take those 2 points.
How did your game winner shape up, especially the pass from Darnell?
I mean, Boucher made a nice play up top, and then Nursey just found that seam. It was perfect seam, and I kind of just had to put in the open net.
in a similar vein, Kassian had a great play before your first goal there. Would you think of his play?
Yeah, I mean, great play. To be able to spin like that with that much speed, it's pretty impressive. And then obviously make a play to the net. Again, just kind of had to clean it up.
First Pacific, second in the West, third in the league. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's our goal to be keep racking up points, get as high as we possibly can. So nice to see that. Long way to go. Obviously, job's not finished here, but we can keep getting better. But after the start we had, we should be not satisfied, but happy with how far we've come.
Do you remember the last time you were first place in the Pacific?
I don't remember.
December of 21.
Okay, yeah, well, good to know. I mean, we got to obviously keep playing well. There's some good teams going to be trying to climb the standings for sure. So things start to tighten up the last half of the season.
There you go. There's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And then I think that's Core, who you heard from. He is from the Netherlands. He's in town. And he got a question in there. So, yeah, you get the international flavor in the post-game scrum. Reed Wilkins kicking it off, kicking butt like he always does. Anything stand out to you from Nugent-Hopkins there, Cass?
Well, I think he's saying what we're all saying in that, they know they weren't great tonight. Mm-hmm. They know they leaned too heavily on Stuart Skinner tonight. But they got 2 points, and it's good to see them where they are in the standings. Yeah, I think as Dusty likes to say, you milk the points. Right, you milked 2 points and you put yourself in a better position because of it, even if you weren't very good tonight.
D-Rock in the nasty chat says, "Holy smokes! It just dawned on me that these Oilers are first in the division, 1 point up on the Vegas Golden Knights." I'll just give everybody the updated standings in the Pacific as of right now. Edmonton, 31-15-3, good for 65 points. They're 7-3 in the last 10. They've won 2 in a row. The Golden Knights, through 49 games, just like the Oilers, are 30-15-4 for 64 points. 3-6-1. Vegas has hit that snag that I was talking about. Like, Vegas always has this like bad stretch right in the middle of the season, and it right on cue. It has happened. Not to say that I'm brilliant or anything like that. I'm just a genius. And Edmonton has surpassed them in the standings. The LA Kings, 8 points back, guys, of the Edmonton Oilers, but they do have 4 games in hand, and the Kings are in action right now in Columbus. No score, 9 minutes into the first period. Colorado at 58 points through 50 games, and then the second wild card spot is held by the Calgary Flames, who are underway in Minnesota. The Wild wearing those beautiful bright green, gold, and white uniforms that they should switch to permanently, I think. And Marc-Andre Fleury has just this classic mask, you guys. It's just 3 colors, like the old school painted masks. I have to give him credit. He always has great equipment setups. So no score between the Flames and the Wild. There's your quick update in the Pacific Division standings. I'll throw in Vancouver, 50 points for the Canucks, 3 back of the Flames through 47 games. All right, let's go back inside the Oilers locker room. And he was excellent on this afternoon in Edmonton. It is Stuart Skinner picking up the win.
10 or 11 minutes, and then you went out with 41. Did you feel pretty locked in after a slow start?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a low shot game again. I thought the way that we started was fantastic. I mean, we came out flying. Thought I had a shot, then they took it away about 10 minutes later. So, I was feeling a little cold, but obviously as the game went on, they started, they got a few penalties. We got a few penalties, that put them on the power play. That gave me a couple shots, so kind of got back into it.
What did you see on that kicking goal that was disallowed there? Did you see the kick, or did you not know where it was going to go? Yeah,
I just saw a skate kind of move. I was just telling Gene in the other interview that I didn't know if it was Bush's skate or not. So after Bush was yelling at the ref, I was asking Bush if he kicked it in or not. So I'm happy that he said no. So no, it was kind of a funny little weird play.
A couple of breakaways on you pretty quickly there in the second period.
Yeah, they. That's the way that Buffalo plays. Like they. Whenever there's a turnover in their end or anywhere, they're just looking for guys, skating up the ice. They definitely found a couple guys, and they're an incredibly good team. Like, they don't get enough respect, as they probably should.
Your team jumps into first place in the Pacific tonight. I realize it's early and it's a long way to go.
Yeah.
But you haven't been in first place for a long time. Is there something there? Is it worth something to be in first place for a while?
I mean, it's always that's the goal, right? It's huge to get first place. Just like what you said, we still got a lot of hockey to be played, and I think that's how it goes. We have such a tight division that, it's anyone's game. Like, the points are so close, right? So I think for us, the mindset's got to be, obviously it's great to be in first place, but let's try to get some more points here, keep playing the same way that we've been playing, and hopefully we can, run with it a bit.
You chased it all year last year. You just couldn't recover from that start.
Yeah.
This year the start wasn't great, but it was better.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you got a chance to accomplish the goal this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar story. I think we just learned a little bit quicker this year. It probably felt a lot worse than what it actually probably was. but yeah, the way that we've been playing, I mean, again, like, it says a lot about the group and how mature we are, and how much mental resiliency we have.
That's a good point by Stu Skinner there. It felt a lot worse than it actually was, that start to the season. The 0-3 didn't help, obviously, and too many deja vu flashbacks to last year's start. But the Oilers are in first place, and that is the goal, is to finish first in the Pacific. We'll see how long that lasts. And they're going to battle, obviously, with a good Golden Knights team. Guys, I'm going to disagree with Stu on his assessment of the Buffalo Sabres. He said that's a good team over there. I'm going to say that's a team with good players, but not overall good. And I think the results speak for themselves. What else do we glean from what Stu Skinner had to say? Cass, you go first.
Yeah, I think it's we spoke to it a little bit, but it's a tough situation for a goalie to have that start to the game where there's not a lot of action. All of a sudden it's like you're getting peppered, and absolutely peppered, particularly on the power plays when the puck's and you are into the ice the whole time. So I thought it was a good game by him. He tried to keep it political with the Buffalo Sabres, not to throw them underneath the bus, but they're not a good team, as you said. They do have good players. You hit the nail on the head with that. I would agree with you on that over Stu Skinner.
Thank you, Cass. That's why you and I are a good team with Hernan. Good players on a good team.
Stewie's just giving the love. I feel like most of these guys will never throw they're always going to give love to the other team no matter where they are in the standings. But yeah, that's three of us that agree that they have good players, but they're not a good team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the results speak for themselves. Buffalo, 41 points through 49 games now. They've dropped their last two. They won in Vancouver on Tuesday, came from behind in the third period. Tried to do it today. Almost did, but the kicked in goal by Cooley gets disallowed, rightly so. Edmonton hangs on. Stu Skinner, really good, 39 saves on the night. Skinner picks up his 19th victory of the season. Okay, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. Cass, let's do a quick look ahead. And then Carmen had a question for you that is not Oilers related, but I do want to get your thoughts on it. So you get Seattle as this homestand continues. Connor McDavid returns on Monday as well. This team can blow off some steam tonight and have a nice Sunday, watch some football, hang out with their wives, girlfriends, and family, do family stuff, which is fantastic. How do you assess this Oilers team going into Monday, and what's the focus for that Seattle game?
Well, I mean, hey, Connor McDavid's back, right? That was the last time for the suspension that we don't have to have Connor McDavid. Your power play instantly is better. And that, to me, is kind of where it is you want to see those wheels click back into motion.
Yeah.
You want to see them, not that they were horrible over the 3 games he was gone. Well, I take that back. The first game of the 3, power play wasn't very good. But outside of that, tonight too was just kind of but I think, and to me, that's the big thing, and it's the danger for this team will be the relaxation in some ways of getting him back, of like, now we're just going to be even better again because McDavid's back, and kind of expecting him to do everything. not that it's wrong to expect him to do everything because he does, is the best player in the world. But there is that tendency to say, okay, we can sit back a little bit again. So you're hoping they're learning from tonight, knowing that it wasn't a great game, knowing they relied on Stuart Skinner too much, knowing they let a team into it, because it's the same sort of situation with Seattle. Now, Seattle, better team than the Buffalo Sabres right now, but still a team that's underneath you significantly in the standings, that when you're playing at your peak can't play with you. Really important that they do just kind of separate themselves from this game against Buffalo, come back to it on Monday with Connor back in the lineup, and just absolutely stick it to the Kraken.
Guys, good question from Pizza Boy before Cass goes. I'll ask both of you. Who comes out for McDavid? He has 3 options: Skinner, Kapanen, or Philp. I'll add a 4th, or other.
I'll just quickly say Kapanen. Cass, go ahead.
Ooh.
I still feel it's probably Skinner.
Well, one guy scored today, and then the other guy set up a goal, and I thought they both played all right. But
Kapanen had a goal too against Vancouver.
He really did.
Yeah. I kind of feel it's going to be Skinner, and they'll keep Philp as a center. Philp as a center. Well, maybe Philp comes out. Probably Skinner.
Okay. What do you say, Hernan?
Yeah, I think because Philp's the center, right? They like him there on that 4th line, and if things are tight, they can double shift the big boys. So I think, it's going to be one of Jeff Skinner or Kasperi Kapanen. It's unfortunate because both guys have been playing well in the last few games, but one's got to sit out, and there's no one else on this roster that's going to be out, guys.
That's fair.
Yeah, and it's not a bad problem to have also, by the way.
No. Okay, let's get to this one from Carmen. It is for Cass, because Hernan and I talked about it a bit on the pregame show, but Carmen says, hey, Edmonton Sports Talk, I need to ask Matt this. How terrible was the choice by Colorado to trade Mikko Rantanen? Cass, what say you?
Oh, scale of 1 to 10. I mean, it's like a 5. If you know you're not going to be able to re-sign him, if you know you're so far apart on the dollar value of the contract that you can't make it work, you're not going to be able to make it work, then you have to move him. And so in some ways you're forced to do it. Now we could look at this specific trade and say, okay, we don't think they got enough for him. But I thought they did okay with it. So it's more situational that it sucks for them, that it's terrible for them. They certainly don't come out ahead. You know, anytime you trade a player like Rantanen, you're not going to be ahead. But your hands were tied to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. They were. So I'm going to go with 5 because it's a little bit terrible, but it's not all the way terrible.
All right.
Max, great text. Max Pazuzu says, why don't they just go 13-5?
There you go.
Oh, Max Pazuzu. Well done.
Yeah.
Cass, what do you got on tap for the rest of the weekend?
Well, I'll have a little dinner tonight. We'll have some people over for lunch tomorrow after church, and then probably some more ringette because that's my life now. So,
well, buddy, enjoy it. Great work today as always, and we'll catch up with you on Monday.
Sounds good, guys. Talk to you later.
That is our game analyst, Matt Cassian, with the breakdown brought to you by South Fort Chev. Awesome to have South Fort Chev on board. They are the title sponsor of the Nielsen Show as well. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Nasty chat, do your thing. We've got Rita Wilkins, who will be joining us shortly. I want to get to some texts. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you. Adam from Lloyd texting in says, they don't ask you how, boys. Good, mature win against the lowly Sabres. First expletive place, baby. Let's go. Afternoon beers hitting just right today. Stu haters won't like this hot take, but Skinner stole that win for them this afternoon. Stu. McDavid suspension over. Stu. First place. Enjoy your Saturday night, boys. You too, Adam from Lloyd. Looks like you're well into it. I appreciate that. There might be a daddy drink in here in this Spirit of Edmonton glass that Jerry Haraxi provided to all of us. I like these aluminum cups.
I think I have one of those too. So Brian Swain sends in the stat of the afternoon. Okay, Tommy? This is for our listeners. Oilers are 26-5-5 since 2020 when giving up 40-plus shots. Skinner is 9-2-2 in his career when facing 40-plus shots.
That's pretty good.
So moral of the text from our boy Swain Dog, give up a lot of shots because you're successful when you do.
No, that's playing with fire. But Skinner bails them out. Let's go to Conroe, Texas. Texting in says, workman-like game. Analyst, not every game is going to be a beauty. Yeah, that's fair. Dirk says, Skinner stole that game. Oilers tried shooting themselves in the foot about 20 times. Take the 2 points and run. Thanks from Dirk. Dirk, appreciate that. Get out of there with those 2 points. Take top spot in the Pacific and, let Vegas worry about its own schedule. And then the Oilers, you just get focused for Seattle. You should be able to pull that off on Monday with McDavid back in tow. They have disappointed the fan base before, but for the most part, they get the job done. Let's go to Coach Mike. Says the Oilers struggle so much versus Buffalo that they lost them twice in one game last season. A win is a win. First in the Pacific. Woot! Says Coach Mike.
Was that the game where they scored and they had to call the guys back from the bench? Is that what he said?
There was something.
Both teams on the ice, and then they had to come back. Yeah,
it was weird. Remember that?
I think there's a disallowed goal to Buffalo in OT, and then they came back and they won anyway in overtime or something. Yeah, it was something like that.
But it was very, if I recall correctly, very similar in feel to what we're seeing or what happened today, where the game was there for the Oilers. They didn't necessarily take it, and Buffalo pulled out the win twice.
Yeah,
as was pointed out. I think I'm recollecting that right. If anybody wants to deep dive into that game, by all means, let us know. 780-218-90. Reed will probably remember. He's hopping on right away here. Okay, one or two more. We'll get to the player of the game. I have a feeling I know where it's going to go, but we'll wait until we can read off a few more texts, then go to Hernan. Operator Rich texting in says, love getting into Frost, but man, first. He says, love getting into first, but man, this team's inability to score an empty net goal will bite them in the ass. Good golly. Or, Operator Rich, are they saving the empty netters for when it matters?
Could be. I think they have 6 on the season, Tom, which is, I think, bottom 5 in the league.
It's pretty low. Yeah, and they have blown some empty nets that they had great looks at. Okay, let's see who else. Oh my God, Randy, I'm not reading any of that. Did you see what Randy wrote in? He wrote in like a novella. I am not reading that. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. Yeah. No, not a chance. Okay, let's go into the player of the game, which is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting has been a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He is community-driven and does understand what it takes to make a difference in our city, so check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Hernan, Salas, give us the player of the game.
Yeah, there's 2 options here, Tom, but I think I got to roll with the guy that kind of, like we alluded to earlier, stole them the game. I got to go with Stuart Skinner. He was fantastic on the night. Like Cass said, it was tough to get into the game because he didn't face a shot until, 11 minutes in, 10 minutes in. Yeah. And then, and then you might want one of those back for sure, but he held them in. He stopped 3 breakaways, a ton of slot opportunities that he held them in. And at the end there with the goal he pulled as well, he was fantastic on the night. Hell of a bounce back for Stuart Skinner. So he is the Damon Bunting player of the game for the agency.
The agency. I like it. Nicely done, Nanso. I see Reed Wilkins is ready to rock. He's got a few things to say about this game and this team, which sits first in the Pacific Division. Keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. Nasty chat. Hum along nicely. If you have any questions or thoughts for us or Reed, fire away. Here he is, Reed Wilkins, host of the Reed Wilkins Show, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6, with Jay Milne, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Natso, is he good to go?
He is.
There he is. There's our boy, Dapper, as always. Riedrich, where do you stand on they didn't play good and got away with it, and they just get the 2 points, just run away with it and flush it?
Well, I thought they played well in spurts, but I didn't think they had a good total game. I don't know. I heard Skinner and Nugent-Hopkins. I don't know if you played Knobloch yet, but
no, we haven't.
But he said, Buffalo in the second period really started skating and moving their feet, and the Oilers didn't. And I thought that was a good way to put it. I mean, Buffalo was just quicker and more precise and played with more tempo, especially in the second period, and then at times in the third. Yeah, it took Buffalo 11:02 to get a shot on net. So always take winning. You'll always, and I think too, this is a good example of how good the Oilers are, is that they won with their B game, or maybe even their C game at times. And then their goalie bailed them out a lot. So that's what happens with the 4th overall team against the 30th overall team.
Yeah.
That if both teams play well, the 4th overall team wins. And if the 30th overall team plays well, the 4th overall team could still win. And I think that's kind of what happened tonight. That Skinner had a very good game, and the Oilers finished some good grade A chances that Buffalo couldn't. But yeah, it wasn't a very I guess I'll use the word precise again. They gave up those breakaways in the second period. I asked Knobloch about giving up the breakaway out of the penalty box. That it's every player's dream coming out of the penalty box to get a breakaway. He said, they turn the puck over at the wrong time and it goes the other way. And Buffalo looked very quick, very energetic, very hungry through a lot of the game. And that gave the Oilers trouble tonight, because I don't think they were as locked in as they usually are.
That's a good point. Edmonton first in the Pacific Division now, Reed. A lot of people, and we've seen it in the nasty chat, in the inbox too, are like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize they were in first, and they surpassed Vegas. Do you think it's sustainable? Do you think that it's going to be a battle between the Golden Knights and the Oilers the rest of the way here?
Well, I do, because I think we've seen that the Oilers are good enough to get 70% of their points, right? I mean, What are they at since November 9th? That's the day that I've sort of been using. I think they're well over 700. So I think they're good enough to get around 70% of their points, and I think Vegas is as well. And quite frankly, I think LA might be too. I guess they got some games in hand to make up on Edmonton, but I do think. I mean, there's going to be bumpy patches for the Oilers, but I think we've seen the bumpy patches are 2 losses, or maybe a 5-game stretch where you go 2-2-1. They don't look like a team that's going to go 2-9-1 as they started last year. I just don't think they have them in them. They're too consistent. They have too much talent. They can get a good goaltending performance when they need one, like tonight. So, yes, I think that the Oilers will jockey with Vegas for first in the Pacific Division. I think it would be cool to get first in the division. I hesitate to call it a division championship. I don't like that. But they haven't finished first in a division since 1987. That's an incredibly long time.
Yes.
And for some of that time, there were 6 divisions. So there are even fewer teams in your division than there are now. So I think it would be nice to have, and even Knobloch was asked about this today, to know you're going to have Game 7 at home, at least for the first 2 rounds, right? Yeah. And maybe even in the third round. And then you see if you make the Stanley Cup final. They did win the Game 7 in Vancouver last year, and then obviously lost the one on the road in Florida. So, not having Game 7 at home is not a death sentence, but I think it helps. And I wonder even too if it helps to start a series at home. Like I know there's the whole, if you start on the road, there's no pressure because you don't need a split. Or you just feel good with a split, and then, but I don't know. I mean, you got a chance to win 2 home games, and then I think sometimes it's maybe having that 5th game at home that might be more of a series turner than even having Game 7 at home, depending on how it goes. So, yeah, I'd like to see them first in the division. I think it would be another step here in sort of this team that's going through a pretty good spot in its history.
D-Rock texting in via the nasty chat says, thanks, Reed, for the Skinner anytime goal prediction. We talked about that in the press box tonight. Smythe, Adams, Norris, Patrick.
That was 87.
Yeah, what other divisions am I missing here?
Well, from 87?
No, just in general. Remember when they had the names of the division?
Those were the 4 names of the division.
Okay, and then the
conferences were Prince of Wales and Campbell.
And then when it got broken into 3 divisions, that's more recent: Northwest, Central, Pacific.
Yeah, and the Oilers were in the Northwest, right?
Yeah, yes, they were with Minnesota,
Northeast.
Colorado.
And then I think it was Northeast, Atlantic, and Southeast.
Yes, exactly.
Because the Jets were in the Southeast Division for 2 years when the Thrashers moved.
I remember talking to our friends over with the Jets, and they're like, yeah, it was wild, lots of travel, but we were in some really warm climates. And
I bet. Yeah.
It was super bizarre. All right, let's get to this question. It's from Jax, who wants to know, would anyone like to keep this group intact going into the trade deadline? The team has chemistry, and they're winning more often than not. Reed, what would you say to Jax?
I think that they would. I think you can never have enough depth. So I think we see how Philp plays. I think we see how Jeff Skinner plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think we see how Kapanen plays. He's had a good couple of games. And I think we see how Klingberg plays. And then that determines what you have to address at the deadline. I think even if they play pretty well, I would bet they still try to add another defenseman who's better than Stetcher or has more playoff experience.
Yep.
And I feel kind of bad because it's not like Stetcher's terrible, by the way. Like when there's a huge mistake, how often do you look, oh, that's Stetcher's fault? I mean, he's been kind of just a decent bottom pairing guy, but of course there are better and more dynamic players overall. But it's not as if he's a huge drag on the team. I think but
he has his moments. He is who he is. And when you go oh my God, that was another one of those, it's usually Bouchard this year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not as if Stetcher is throwing pucks away up the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that question. The question is basically, well, if they keep getting 70% of their points or whatever, like I've been saying, do you need to change anything? I would say you don't need to change anything, but you need to add depth. And you can never have enough. So maybe they don't have to go after a $3 to $5 million defenseman or whatever would fit under the cap at the deadline, but you'd still like to add just another solid player who can jump in if needed. And they might still go after a 4th line faceoff guy.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, I mean, Philp only played 649, 50% on the draws. He did get a little bit of PK time. There were some people asking about Philp, but this is game number 9 for him in the National Hockey League. Like, where's he at? How do you think things play out for Noah Philp, who did play for the University of Alberta Golden Bears at one point?
He did. Thanks for mentioning that.
I didn't know if you knew.
First time ever. Yeah, appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
I know he didn't play a lot tonight. I have liked the last couple of games how he's been skating and using his body to create position and get involved in puck battles. He looks a little more assertive, and I'm not saying he was ever tentative, but I started to feel probably more last game than tonight, but he's starting to figure out his way around the NHL ice, with the smarter players and the bigger players, the more experienced players. I do think there's a player there who could be a good, kind of 4th line center type player. I heard you guys talking about who comes out. Like, I honestly wonder if they take him out against Seattle.
Really? Really?
Yeah, and I think they want to have him up here and play. But it doesn't mean he's going to play every game. I mean, he's still a relatively easy player to scratch. And here's the thing. Kapanen's made 2 good plays that have led to goals.
Yes.
And Jeff Skinner did score tonight. I know he doesn't play a bunch 5-on-5. What did he get to tonight? He didn't get it. He got to 10:44 tonight.
Yes.
A little bit on the power play. The previous game, he had about 6.5 minutes on the power play. But he did score, and I thought he looked okay. Maybe we kind of I've tempered my expectations for him. So I wonder if, a center comes back and a center comes out. I wonder if it's that simple. But then there's a question of where Nugent-Hopkins goes. But I do think there's a player in Philp.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's another one I would look at. I know we keep bringing up Bjugstad, but if you get a Bjugstad type player at the deadline, he would push Philp out, or Philp stays as the 13th guy or whatever.
Yeah, and that's okay. But you and I noted today while watching Philp, you can already tell the difference. His size and speed, obviously there's a lack of experience compared to Derek Ryan, but you can notice those assets and what they bring to the table and why they're valued, right?
Yes. Well, and he was around the net on a couple of chances too. I mean,
he had
a couple of shot attempts, I think. What did he have? He had one shot on goal. I thought he had another one. Maybe he.
I think one missed the net.
Yeah, maybe that was it. But like, I know he didn't play as much tonight, but I don't view him as a big liability. Like, and I'm not saying like he should be scratched. I'm just saying maybe that's an easy decision to make for Monday because of Skinner and Kapanen having both been on the score sheet the last couple of games, and then he's back in for the final 2 games of the homestand. But yeah, I do think there's definitely a player there. I think usually when players get more experience, their faceoffs get even better. And he's had a couple of really good faceoff games already in his brief career. So he's kind of an interesting player to watch, right? And the Oilers, as we talked about, they don't have a lot of prospects. They can't trade for everybody. So even if it's in a depth role, if you can have him beyond this year, because if they do trade for somebody, that could be another Bukestad type situation where he's here and then he's gone.
Epiphany via the Nasty Chat says he played a grand total of 6:49 tonight, like we mentioned, and 36 seconds on the PK. He needs time. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, just to underscore what Epiphany's saying there. It's going to take time. 9th game in the National Hockey League. I know there's a lot of attention on him. Could he be the ideal 4th-line center for this team in the next few years or for the next few years? Yeah, but you got to round into form. And Reed, I think you outlined that pretty nice. Quaddy says Philp lost 2 key faceoffs in a row cleanly on the PK, led to a goal. His ice time got cut after that. There's going to be ups and downs. It's just part of the process, unfortunately, and maybe a bit of a downer there, but we'll see how that progresses. All right, text us 780-218-9999. Reed, a few people were asking earlier, do we see John Klingberg on Monday night?
It doesn't sound like it. Knobloch was asked about that as well.
Okay.
Trying to remember exactly what he said. He didn't commit to a date, but I think he kind of gave that within a week answer again, because he said when he was first asked about him, when was it? Last Monday, he said it'll probably be at least a week.
Yeah.
Which meant the second half of the homestand, but the Monday game, kind of that gray area. So
that was right at a week, because it was Monday when he made that comment. Yeah.
I would think, based on that and based on the fact that they don't skate tomorrow, I would think Monday's unlikely.
Okay.
I would think Thursday or Saturday would be more likely. Wouldn't be something they threw him in against the Leafs for his first game.
That would be tough. Yeah, his old team. He would be motivated, though. He would definitely be motivated. All right, let's take a look ahead to Monday's game. Seattle, obviously a better team than Buffalo. Edmonton needs to play a more complete game, probably take their opponent a little more seriously. How much of it was the dangling carrot in front of the Oilers with the night and the day off, opposed to them just being sloppy straight up?
Yeah, I wonder that too, if they were, because I like, they didn't seem as engaged as they usually would be in a game like this, and it wasn't a great opponent, so I wonder if they were thinking about the evening and the day off a little bit. But as we've seen with this team, usually that doesn't last. They get right back at it on Monday. Clearly there's going to be a boost for McDavid coming back, and let's face it, I thought this was, well, maybe not, let's face it. Maybe it's not, maybe other people won't agree with me. Like, I didn't think the power play was good again today.
It was not good.
No. Did they only have 2 opportunities? What did they have? They only had 1? Another one.
Yeah.
They just had 1.
I think
it wasn't good.
Yeah. When they gave it to Skinner on that one side, it really seemed out of sync. Then they just focused over on Draisaitl. Remember, he passed it to nobody.
Leon threw it back. Bouchard wasn't there.
Yeah.
Nuge and Leon were trying to figure out something down the right-hand wall.
Yeah.
So I think that the power play is going to be much. That was the biggest loss. As great as McDavid is, I didn't feel like they missed him a ton 5-on-5, because there was good balance to the lines and the effort level and the drive to the lines, especially in the previous 2 games. but they really missed him on the power play and zone entries alone because he's an automatic zone entry. He is an automatic zone entry. And there was one time today, Bouchard was bringing it up, and both Leon and Nuge were circling back for the drop, and then that might have been the one that got intercepted. I don't know if that was the one that turned into a breakaway, but I think the Oilers still muffed it, even though he had two guys to drop the puck back to. So, having McDavid back on the power play, I think we'll have, and just having him back in general is going to up the energy level against the Kraken.
And he's going to be motivated. Okay, last one for you, Reed. This is an Oil Country exclusive. Why do you think I'll throw the media in there as well, over-index bringing back former Oilers?
That's a good question. So who's being talked about today? Well, Kostin was talked about a lot.
Yeah, you mentioned Bugstad type, and people were talking about CC this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. That's a good question. Like I've noticed, I wasn't covering. Well, no, I did cover the tail end of Hemsky's tenure as an Oiler.
Yep.
Just maybe the last season or two.
Yep.
But I know even there'd be, Hemsky gives the puck away so much. Hemsky this, he gets points, but they don't matter, And then when I interviewed him in Studio 99 during last year's playoffs, like people wanted his autograph and they want pictures. And it's like, I wish they had a Hemsky on this team. I don't know. I don't know what it is with bringing back former players. I just think that fans are so passionate and that they want the team to be successful so badly that when a player is on the team, they see the things that prevent him from helping the Oilers win enough. And then when he's gone, they miss all the things that he did to help them win as much as they did.
Right.
I knew Ceci was going to be missed. I'm surprised Kostin was romanticized as much as he was, because he was a good player at times, but wasn't a very consistent player to talk about those two guys. And when I say Bugstad, I'm not saying specifically Nick Bugstad. I'm just talking more about the role that he had. And I don't know if anybody would associate him with being an Oiler because he was here so briefly. But it is true. Most of I've noticed that, like, there'll be an ex-guy, or when you and I get to interview an alumni over the years, and we see all these, like, I love that guy. And I'll be thinking, like, what? Nobody loved this guy when he was here. Like, everybody wanted him gone.
Yep. Well said. As always. Reed, Rick, I enjoyed having you on Hello Hockey earlier today. Someone said I think it was Matt Hyman, was like, hey, that was great. And then threw in a Dungeons and Dragons reference, which I love that soundbite that you guys use on the Reed Wilkins show. And then it was fun sitting in the press box with you as well. Hopefully I see you later and we have a social sparkler together to celebrate the weekend.
All right. And thanks for sitting with me during the game. That was awesome, buddy.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for hopping on tonight.
See you.
There's Reed Wilkins, host of the Reed Wilkins Show, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, Monday to Friday, 3 to 6, with the glue guy, Jay Milne. All right, Hernan, I'm going to read this one from Cal in the Park, and then you and I will give some final thoughts and say good night. Cal in the Park says, I missed some of the show, but has anyone talked about the spectacular save the goalpost made on Draisaitl's shot in the last minute? Outstanding. Skinner saves the day today. Have a great night off, guys. Cal in the Park. Thank you, Cal. Say hi to Sarah for us. Hernandez, what say you as we wind it down?
Another 2 points. Nice to see the Oilers. I didn't know it was 87 last time they were at the top there, so that's pretty cool. See if it's gonna be a battle all the way up until mid-April, Tom. I don't think LA's gonna go away. Vegas is definitely not going away.
No.
So it's gonna be fun to see what happens, and excited for Monday. We'll be back. It's a 7:30 start, I think, but it's the return of Connor McDavid, the Kraken in town. Should be another fun game, and I have a feeling McDavid might be a little motivated for that game. So it's going to be a fun one. And to all the nasties for tuning in on this afternoon, go enjoy yourself. Be safe. We love you guys.
Well said. 7:30 indeed on Monday night. We're on the air for the pregame show at 6:30. That is going to do it for the GCL Diesel postgame show. The Oilers win it 3-2 in a sloppy sloppily played game, but ultimately they do pick up the 2 points and have moved into first place in the division. Enjoy that, Oil Country. It's been a while since that happened last. For Reed Wilkins and Matt Cassian and the Latino Heat, Hernan Salas, I am Tom Gazzola saying thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a good one. Take care.